Hello and welcome to our next student catch-up, where I've got Joe from our alumni who completed the Amplify Summer Internship Program in 2021 and has secured 5 offers for a spring week just coming up in 2022. And so as much as we're going to talk about that, what led to perhaps that success in the application round, just really to catch up with Joe and see if there's any tips and tricks he could pass on to the wider community. So Joe, how's it going?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Joe, just tell me where are you studying, what you're studying at the moment, just to kick things off.
Yeah, sure. So I'm at Warwick right now, in my second year of a 4-year course, and I'm doing economics. But next year I'll be doing a more business and finance route on my year abroad at IE in Madrid.
Okay, and with Warwick, was there any particular reason for choosing Warwick as a university, and more so that subject? Was economics always the go-to degree, or was that more of a recent thing?
Yeah, so I think quite different to other people on my course or other people going into finance. I'd never did economics at school. And for the longest time, I was set on studying maths. So I did maths, physics, those kind of subjects at school. And I was really set on doing maths at uni until pretty much the day where I was going to submit my UCAS form. So I just actually, as I was about to submit it, I looked into maths more, realized that actually that's not what I like the look of. So I wanted to do something more applied, chose economics in the end. And again, unlike quite a lot of people who go to Warwick, it was actually one of only 2 offers that I got. So I didn't actually have much of a choice for going to Warwick. But in the end, I don't think I would change economics at Warwick. So it all worked out in the end.
Okay, and then because I know your background a little bit, tell me a bit about before you went to university. You had almost like a business of your own, right? As a teenager.
Yeah, right. So as you can see from the wall over there, I used to make football videos, and I'd post them on Instagram mainly, but also a bit of YouTube. And I did it with a friend of mine, and together within about 2 years of making videos, we did quite well. We got sponsorships from, you can see some New Balance and some Adidas there. We got some nice numbers on Instagram, up to 500,000 followers. And at the end, we sold it. We sold the platform after the 2 years, like I mentioned, just to focus on school, other things we wanted to do. It was just the right time to move on, really. But yeah, that was definitely a nice experience to have before going to uni.
Was there ever a point where you thought, I should do this again, but in like another format, and actually maybe I don't need to go to university? Was that ever a thing in your head, or never?
Not really. I think I've always been the type of person who is on the lookout for something to do. So, I did this because I've always played football and I like the look of making videos. So I just wanted to combine the two. And I've always been on the lookout for some way to keep busy. But I think in my mind, uni was always a great place to meet people, to do stuff like this with. So I was always going to come to uni. But as we've mentioned before, I guess some of the reasons for that maybe weren't academic. I did hear about Amplify very early on in freshers year as well. Because yeah, like I mentioned, I got to uni, didn't really have a passion for economics, definitely didn't have a passion for finance. But I just started meeting people, talking to them. They would come up to me like, oh, you're studying economics. Have you done your spring week applications yet? As if that was a path that you have to follow. But I got interested, and so I looked into it, did a bit of digging, downloaded a LinkedIn account, things like that. And Amplify came up pretty early on. I saw the summer program because I was Googling myself, summer internships, finance, or summer internships, trading. And Amplify came up, so I looked into it and eventually registered for the program.
Okay. And then look, fast forward to now, you had, let me get this right, so you got UBS, Credit Suisse, Barclays, Deutsche Bank, and BNP Paribas is all the banks that you received offers from. So just talk me through this experience. I mean, let's go right to the beginning. Was it as soon as the applications opened, you were there first day submitting? I mean, what was the plan and structure of attack?
Yeah, so like I mentioned, I'm a second year now because I'm doing a year abroad. It's a 4-year degree, and that's why I could apply to Spring Weeks. But I didn't know I would be doing a year abroad last year. So in my first year, it's probably good to mention that I did all of this and got 0 offers and 0 interviews. But there was a lot I could take away from that. So through speaking to friends of mine who did end up getting offers, or other people who I didn't even know, who I just reached out to who got offers, I found out what they were doing different to me, got feedback on my CV, on my cover letters, things like that, got tips on how to do online tests, everything that you need really for applications. And then this time around, I was just so much more prepared. So like you said, I'd be much earlier applying, checking pretty much daily for when new banks open their Spring Weeks. I'd apply as soon as I could. And not only apply as soon as I could, but then do the online test as soon as I could, eventually book interview slots as early as I could, just to I think everyone has an advantage if they're early, just because there's more spaces free and more availability. So being fast is definitely a big thing.
Did Amplify come up in these conversations when you were having these interviews?
100%. So like I mentioned, I didn't have any didn't get any offers or any interviews in my first round of Spring Week applications last year. And that's because, I'm not surprised, because I would apply for a global markets role and then, write a cover letter about M&A. Like, I really had no idea what was going on. And then through the summer analyst program with Amplify, it was, for me, I really saw it as two different sides. So on the one hand, we would have the educational side of learning why M&A doesn't come into global markets and what global markets actually does, what a trader actually does. And then we could experience it ourselves with the simulations. So definitely in my interviews, I was more informed on what the role actually was. And on top of that, I could say, because I've tried it in these simulations, I know that this is something I'm good at because I got these scores, and this is something I'm interested in because I really enjoyed the experience.
And through doing, I assume then you've got those 5 offers, but they weren't the only people you were applying to. So you've had quite a few kind of situations to live through now. Is there any one recurring theme that you think that you've learned that's been particularly useful when you're interviewing or you're doing part of the application process? If there's one kind of tip that you could give to others.
I think obviously there's the basics that everyone's mentioned so far in these calls, that, reach out to people, network, things like that. So aside from that, I think 2 main things that stood out for me were, first of all, having a group of friends that were also doing applications really helped me. I think I had 2 or 3 close friends who were in the same boat as me, applying for the same things as me. And it made it a lot easier to kind of stay focused, deal with the rejections. We could sort of laugh it off together and just keep going. I think if you're doing the whole process on your own, it could get a bit tiring, it could get you down a lot easier. But having a close group of friends who are also in the same position definitely helped. And also taking it not too seriously. Obviously, you need to be serious if you're applying for a role like this, because they're going to take the people that they think are the best candidates. But I also kept more of an open mind, I feel, than some other people, and just thought that if this interview goes well, that's great. And if it doesn't, there's plenty of other options, even outside of finance. Like, finance is just one little industry among so many others. So it's not a matter of life or death. And I think that definitely helped me come across more natural and just speak more confidently.
It's so interesting hearing you talk, because I get I'm in a position now where, fortunately, I get to talk to lots of different young individuals. But you making the statement you've just made takes quite a lot of self-confidence. And I know from the interactions I have with a lot of young people, that's probably the one area where a lot of them are deficient. They're usually quite good academically, or they've had consistent success. Do you think that comes from that kind of small business that you did have in social media that helped? Because I'd imagine there was like trial and error and failure to make that a success before you, and even the negotiating the sale of that must have been a bit a bit, a new territory for you. So do you think you get that confidence from that, or is there other life experiences that have generally given you that attitude?
I'm sure that part of it has come from that, just because, I mean, even just putting videos of yourself out there online, especially when I was about 13 when I started doing it, was a bit daunting, just because then you go into school and people would be showing you your own video. And I'm sure a lot of people have had that as well, but I guess that does take some confidence. And then I would have grown throughout the experience, just, dealing with the public eye a little bit and stuff like that. But I think it was also just not common sense, but I would just rationalize it out and think that, if someone is able to get an interview for a top firm like an investment bank, they'll be able to get interviews for other investment banks or other big companies or anything else that they set their mind to. So I think it's just seeing the bigger picture and zooming out a little bit and realizing that this isn't the one opportunity and the only opportunity.
And then I know that you did apply to some US institutions, but you've had quite a different outcome between European-based banks, which was all the 5 offers that came, but not so much with the US. I mean, is there any feelings about what contributed to that?
Yeah. So like we mentioned, I mean, there are definitely culture differences from what I've heard between the US banks and the European banks. And I mean, it would look like I'm definitely much more fitted to the European banks. But I'm not sure. I guess it might be something specific they're looking out for on a CV or a cover letter, or it might be coincidence. But yeah, like you mentioned, if anyone's had a similar experience or the reverse experience, it'd be interesting to hear if they know why that's happened.
Yeah, I mean, we'd love to get more definitive answer, but like Joe said, I think it's fairly clear that there is a cultural difference in the way that they operate day to day, their kind of core values and things like that. And so it is a little bit different, but it's so interesting to see that, it's not like all out full success. There is rejections, just to bring it back to earth, although you've had 5 offers, which is amazing. It doesn't come without some trial and tribulation along the way, right?
Yeah, no, yeah. I mean, not only did I have rejections this time around, but I had only rejections last year as well. So it's not one that's just like everything turned to gold. Yeah.
And then a bit more about the spring week. I know you're still yet to complete them, but a little bit of visibility if you have it, or what exactly they're going to entail. Have they let you know yet?
No, I haven't heard much yet, to be honest. Only one of the ones. So I ended up getting 5 offers, but I've only been able to accept 3 of them due to dates clashing. And only one of those 3 is in person. So I'll be going to London for that week. But apart from that, I'll just be in this spot right here. I imagine watching some presentations, doing some group projects, things like that. But I haven't actually been told too many specifics on it yet.
Well, you'll be, I'm sure, at least at some of them, Credit Suisse, you might be doing the odd Amplify simulation. So yeah. I'm sure you'll smash that.
Hope so.
Well, look, I mean, we'll wrap it up there, but I'm sure if anyone wants to connect with you, I'll drop your LinkedIn on the video description. If anyone wants to touch base with you, if that's okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely always good to pass it on, the experience and the knowledge. So look, wish you all the best with the upcoming spring weeks. I'm sure you're already thinking about, right, what happens next. And so try to enjoy those weeks and look forward to catching up with you again soon.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
All right. Take care, Joe.
Thank you.